and then,
Ooh.
It's a 50 like that one, but
So
it's
that
all,
makes
she's moving around.
Try to get around
But,
film.
you can get.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that's a great extra one to have on.
Yeah, so I just shoot wide open, and then I have a variable ND filter on the end of it, so that makes it so I can just shoot wide open the whole time.
Nice. Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm putting these bags over
Gets some
here.
great shots on it.
Huh. The reason I ended up going for the Sony there was because it was so compact. Because carrying around 70D with glass is like, oh man.
You should get the adapters for the legacy lenses, because I mean, like this sucker here, and they need 200. I got for $15
What?
on eBay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you use like Metabones or Metabones adapters?
Just this, whatever this I got on eBay, Faka, that whole thing there. I don't
Careful
know.
how you say that.
I know, right? I don't know what
Okay.
it was, but it works awesome.
Oh, so it's not even a glass; it just does the distance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they have the Metabones where you can use your Nikon or
Focus and
Canon for autofocus.
Yeah, this is way old. This.
You guys will sit and talk about this for like
Oh, I'm
days,
sorry.
right? No, I'm just
Yeah. Like I'm always learning, so anytime I have a chance to learn from a actual photographer.
Oh God, you probably know as much, no more than I do.
I don't know.
A buddy of mine just turned me on to the. Let me just flip that thing over so I got
I'll try not to do too many neck turns.
That's all right. We'll be talking. You'll just look at me, and we'll be all set. So we, Jim will be, while Jim's setting up, I'll let you know how it's gonna go. We'd like for you to start with saying your name, what your degree is in, and where you work. And then after that, we'll just start the conversation about all the things that we're gonna talk about.
Name, degree, where I work.
Yeah.
Okay, and looking at you,
Looking
so you
at
get
me.
that interview look.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Excited. Do I get copies of all the raw before you edit?
No.
Come on.
No, there's no raw video. We do not distribute raw video.
I have an FTP server if you want to just load it up. We'll talk on the side. It's
You
all
ready?
fair.
We're good.
No, it's all fair. It's all fair. You can never not ask. I mean, that's the thing. So,
That's why I brought a camera.
Yeah.
I anticipate.
So there you go. So go ahead and say your name, your degree, and where you work.
My name is Kyle Denton, and I am a student of the Organizational Leadership Program, studying global leadership. I work at Puget Sound Naval Shipyard in Bremerton, Washington.
Great. Now, are you graduating with your master's degree?
I am graduating with my master's degree today. I'm so excited.
So, Kyle, first and foremost, why did you decide to go back to school?
I love learning. I think that's really the key driver, but with that, I grew up in a poor family, and there's nobody in my family who has graduated with a master's or higher. One of my aunts has a bachelor's, and I wanted to set an example for my daughter and son. So I went back to school, and here I am.
So why did you decide, there's a lot of different kinds of programs that people can get master's degrees in. Why did you decide to get your master's in organizational leadership?
The organizational leadership program was kind of sold on me. I'd heard about it first from a graduate who worked at Puget Sound Naval Shipyard, Dr. Yergler. He had talked about how he drove every other week and to continue on and do his doctorate as well. And so when I started looking at master's programs, I was looking at educational degrees, I was looking at just, what's the right fit? What is something that I have a yearning for that would be interesting that I could continue? It's a lot of work, right? And I found Gonzaga and I was like, oh, I remember him talking about Gonzaga. And I started learning about the philosophy, the ethos, people for others, and it really resonated with me. And as I talked more and figured out about it, I was like, okay, especially with the ORGL program and the ability to meet people face to face and have dialogue, I as one of those flexible options you can do. That's what sold me. So from the start, I planned on going to different immersions, coming to campus, and it was a good choice.
So you talk a little bit about immersions. Some of our students are actually, they specifically want an online program because it fits their life. They can't really see themselves going to a campus, and we require an immersion. And some people are a little like, oh, why do I have to come to campus? Would you talk a little bit about that required immersion and why, and what you got out of it?
One of the best experiences ever of the program was the immersion on campus, Imagine, Create, Lead. We had these breaking down the barriers, this group that we really came together the first night where we stayed longer than we needed to because we were all just so passionate about the subjects we were learning, and then getting to know each other, so many interesting people from so many different backgrounds, and all kinds of experience. We're talking CEOs of corporations, heads of nonprofits like the YMCA, and it was just fascinating. Coming back 2 years later, all throughout the program, that immersion group, we have carried on with WhatsApp and text messages and email distribution lists, and met each other along the way all across the world, all over the place, really different continents, coming together and supporting each other, sharing updates about family and life. So the immersion on campus, they say there's something in the air. It's true.
What has been your favorite class?
My favorite class, that's a really hard question. Every class has added a piece to the puzzle, a piece to the picture. Oh man.
First thing that pops into your head.
Prague. I'll go with Prague. So I went to Charles University with Justin Slagle, one of the people from my immersion on campus. And we basically went out there with one other Gonzaga student to be the pilot, to see how it is, test it out. And then we decided to also do independent study as well while we were out there, and do a research project, international research about global leadership and education. So we did a bunch of extra work, but it turned out to be the most rewarding class ever, because in the heart of Europe, we came together with 30 people representing 20 nations who were fascinated with the change and uncertainty of the world and figuring out a path forward for it. It was really this boiling pot of ideas and leadership and passion for others. So, Prague.
So, you received, you went for the Global Leadership Concentration.
Yes.
So can you talk to me a little bit about what you learned, some of the skills that you received and tools that you received while with that concentration?
The Global Leadership Concentration has been extremely fascinating. The best way to put it is that the skills you get with a global mindset, it's like an amplification of all the skills we need back home. So you're put in a situation where there's vastly different cultural expectations and norms, and they come up, they boil to the surface, and you talk about them, and you understand that, oh, my mental model maybe wasn't quite right about the world. I wonder what situations that also applies to. So looking to deal with your mental blocks and getting past those, and understanding other people and learning to communicate more effectively and lead teams. That has been the most transformative aspect of the Global Leadership Program, being able to use those skills back home. For instance, when I started this program, I was the manager for about a 750 person workforce development program. And with the skills and learning to navigate the cultural differences, which you see between East Coast and West Coast United States even, versus Hawaii, I've transitioned to overseeing a program that has 2,024 people across 4 of the naval shipyards, the 4 public Navy shipyards that the U.S. government has. So, and that's directly from the skills I learned in global leadership.
So you would, let's talk a little bit about work. Would you, so you did you get a promotion?
Yeah. How many?
Let's talk about what has happened within your career, and is that contributable to what you've been learning in the organizational leadership program?
Everything I've done has been directly transferable back to my career. How to work in teams across boundaries, different organizations collaborating. And, you know, I came into the organizational leadership program and global leadership not to get a new position, or for the learning, taking that ownership of my learning. And I think a lot of people recognize that when you have the passion and motivation, that they recognize it. So I have not graduated yet, but they all knew I was doing it. And so I've been given increased responsibilities, increased team sizes, and you know, starting out a promotion, they're like, oh, well, you're doing this thing. And I'm like, well, I haven't graduated yet. That was back near the time I started, about a year in. So it's been really fascinating. I see it as I'm still learning a lot, and yet other people are like, oh, you're doing a master's? I guess, yeah.
So what are some of the skills that you've been able to translate that you've learned directly to your work?
One of the biggest things is learning to ask questions, learning about other people, and that really helps foster communication better. That's something that you see, especially when you're in a multicultural mesh of people, that they may do something one way, and if you ask, well, so is that like something normal for your culture, or what's that like? So understanding those differences exist and being able to be interested and curious. And there's just so many other things. Going through the systems, organizational behavior and systems, and understanding how different processes are organic and influence each other, the leadership ethics and communication, really learning to communicate your values and beliefs, and how to build that shared vision with others, communicating what their values and beliefs are. A lot of that, it seems so simple to talk about it, yet I do not think I could have done it without going through the experiences in the program.
Let's see here. Student services, I want to talk a little bit about, actually first I want to talk about work-life balance. You have a family, you have a demanding job, and you're going to school. And that's, our student is exactly, our potential student is you, obviously. So can you talk a little bit about work-life balance and how the program is designed for working professionals and the flexibility?
One of the biggest reasons that I really was just so intrigued by Gonzaga and the ORGL program is it is designed to be flexible for life. So you have the option of doing your immersion on campus and then doing all these fascinating courses over distance education, doing your research and reading and dialogue across internet forums. But you can also schedule these immersions where, if your work allows, I've been to Europe 3 times, traveled 12 countries, 3 international forums, and I used the leave from work and just made sure that I was able to line things up. And of course, they've been really supportive too. So there's just so much flexibility depending on what your passion and interest is, what you're able to do. It's really made for the professional, the future leader. It's made for the student. It's made for people who enjoy online distance communication. It's made for people who want to come and join together on campus or across the world. It has been just amazing. to be able to do so many different things, yet still having that flexibility. There were semesters where I was working 60 hours a week at work, and those were semesters where student services and everybody were like, oh, well, we can switch these classes around for you. And it worked out perfect. They're really supportive, and everybody's there to help. So it's been great.
So let's talk a little bit about student services. We think that that's one of the things that, I mean, on top of the great program, that really is there to support you. Did you use student services, and how was your experience?
Oh my gosh, I ran into Erin on the way here. She had just grabbed her gown. I was like, hey, how's it going? Student services has been amazing. Anytime there's something I'm not certain about and I can't find the answer, or it's I don't even know what the question is. I'm like, I'm trying to figure about this. How do I do that? And you can email, and any time of day they're answering, like 5:30 at night. I'm like, why are they still at work? But student services, the virtual campus, they've been amazing in just being able to support anything I need. I needed a custom billing description for my work to do a reimbursement thing for tuition, and nothing existed online. So they went and wrote one up and signed it for me. I was like, oh, wow, thank you. That was quick. They've been great.
Good. That's good to hear. Do you think you've gotten a good return on your investment?
I've got a massive return on my investment. Out of this program, I've made friendships that will last a lifetime. I found new business partners, founded a business based on the concepts and learning and the global mindset I've gotten from this program. I've received promotions and raises and additional opportunities through work. I've set an example for my wife, who decided to go back to school for nursing. An example for my daughter and son, who at 4 years old, she'll grab a coloring book and be like, I have to do homework. And so we're all sitting there as a family at the table, doing our studying. So there's just a massive return on so many different levels.
Is there anything I've missed that you think a potential student or should hear, or that you want to share?
The organizational leadership program will change your life. I never thought I would be where I am today, and it's from the people, the relationships, the content of this program. It's been transformative.
That was perfect. Thank you very much.
I'm gonna cry a little.
I it's funny. People, I find this is my second year of doing interviews, and people really are kind of. It's a bittersweet. Graduation is bittersweet because they've had so much. They're happy that they're finished, but they're sad that they're finished. And
yeah.
It's like. Do you think you're gonna go on to a doctorate?
People have already been saying I should. Popa was like, yeah, you could get a research assistant position. Don't worry about tuition. Because even without classes, Justin and I have been working with him on doing international research because traveling to all these places. And so we've been writing and doing things that aren't even homework assignments. It's just been really fascinating. Trying to balance it.
You've got young children. And the nice thing is you can always do it a little bit later if you choose.
Yeah. But right now everything's so fresh.
Yeah.
We have all these people who are just like, when are you gonna interview us? So in Prague we started that, and so we ended up doing 3 follow-ons over Skype, and other people are like, hey, what about me? And these half-hour interviews we thought we were going to do turned into 3-hour discussions where they were just really pouring themselves out. In Prague, one of the discussions with a gentleman from Japan coming into Prague, the Czech Republic, a country that has been subordinated and under outside rule from first the Austrians, and then the Nazis, and then communist Russia. The citizens of the Czech Republic are hoping to find their own identity and their own place. And they have one of the top 10 busiest tourist destinations in the world, so all these outsiders coming in. And so this Japanese gentleman had people spit at him and had people kick his seat on the bus and glare at him, and it was really just fascinating how our dialogue and conversations, because we were in Prague to discuss Europe in an age of uncertainty, and we're talking about global leadership and global education. Me and Justin, as part of our research project, we were very open with everybody of, hey, we're also doing this. And literally in our 3-hour interview with this gentleman, he just poured his heart out and talked about what it was like feeling that. But by the end, because we were talking about understanding these diversity and perspectives and how to relate to people when there's so many barriers placed in the world today between people. He was thankful. He showed so much gratitude. He was like, I think I would like to help those people. Rather than being hurt and put down, he understood that they also have faced difficulty in the world. And so rather than putting up a barrier, he wanted to reach out to them. So it was just really fascinating. So we want to continue on with these kind of conversations. So, yeah.
Well, that's also fascinating just because Japan is a very insular
Yeah.
society. So going from a majority place
Yeah.
to going, where he was treated like that must have been just a shock in and
Yeah.
of itself. So
Yeah.
that's very, that's
You-
interesting.
There's just all these opportunities to meet so many different people. It's been great.
That's good. I don't want you to be
Oh,
late.
Yes.
What time is it?
55. We got
Whoa,
time.
good. No, I pride myself on being able to get people out and where they need to be.
Yes, I have to learn how to do a gown thing.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that.
And it didn't overheat.